Thank you, Representative Wilson. The House will come to order. This morning's this morning's pledge will be led by Aaron Vigil from Arupe Jesuit High School in Denver, Colorado. Welcome.
Please join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Randall, please call the roll.
Representatives Arndt, Becker J. J. Becker.
Excused.
Becker K. Beckman. Benavides. Representative J. Becker is here. Bridges. Buck. Buckner. Carver. Catlin. Coleman. Covarrubias. Danielson.
Morning.
Escar. Oh. Everett. Exum. Foot. Garnett. Janal. Janal.
Excused.
Gray. Hamner. Hanson. Herod. Hooten. Representative Janal is present. Humphrey. Jackson. Kennedy. Kraft Tharp. Kraft Tharp.
Excused.
Landgraf. Lawrence. Lee. Leonard. Excused. Lewis. Liston. Lontine. Lundeen. McKean. McLaughlin. Melton. Michelson Janae. Excused. Neville. Pabone. Pedersen. Rankin. Ransom. Ryer. Roberts. Rosenthal. Sane. Salazar. Sandridge. Sias. Sias. Singer. Thurlow. Valdez. Van Winkle. Weissman. Willett. Williams. Wilson. Winkler. Winter. Wist. Young. Madam Speaker.
Excused.
Tharp, Leonard, Michael Sanchez. Is all, did Kraft Tharp show? Just these three. Leonard and Michael Sanchez.
With 61 present and 4 excused, a quorum is present. Representative Covarrubias.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I move that the reading of the Journal of Tuesday, April 10th, 2018 be dispensed with and approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
You've heard the motion that the journal be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No. The ayes clearly have it. The motion passes. Announcements and introductions. Representative Lewis.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. Good morning, colleagues. I would like to introduce from Lincoln County, Lyman High School seniors are here, a whole row of them. Let's welcome them. And thank you.
Further announcements and introductions. Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. Members of the House Local Government Committee, since we're waiting for a few other folks to join us, I will just say that we will see you today at 1:30. We will only be hearing one bill today. It's got me all choked up. We will be hearing the History Colorado bill. We will be hearing our Colorado Mountain College bill the following week. So we'll be laying one over, but hearing one today at 1:30. Looking forward to seeing you all down there.
Further announcements and introductions. Representative Kraft-Tharp.
So, thank you. So this is not my event. So whosever event this is, I am doing the announcement for you. But tomorrow I heard is Jersey Day, that we're supposed to be wearing jerseys in memoriam of those sports people that died. So someone brought me a jersey and put it on my desk, so I'm the one making the announcement that, Representative Covarrubias, is this your event? So wear your jerseys tomorrow to commemorate the sports kids that died in that bus accident.
Thank you, Representative Kraft-Tharp.
It's not. I don't want to be the only one wearing a jersey.
Further announcements and introductions. I have one important announcement of my own, colleagues, if I could have your attention. Today is House District 24. You know what? I have the gavel, don't I? I'm going to make my own announcement. Today is House District 24 Day at the Capitol, and I have a number of excellent constituents. If you could please rise and be recognized. Thank you so much for visiting us in the Capitol today. And I will turn it back over to Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, Tim, and welcome to the Capitol. I do think that is a $1 fine. All right, and there are a couple of replacements for Representative Leonard on Wednesday, April 11th. On the Education Committee, Representative Carver will replace Representative Leonard. And on the State Affairs Committee, Representative Sias will replace Representative Leonard. Also, Representative Lantin will replace Representative Michelson-Janae on the Finance Committee for today only. Any further announcements or introductions? Madam Speaker Pro Tem Danielson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm sorry to jump the line, and I know I got a fine for introducing my constituents, but there are two of them that I am allowed to introduce. Russell Lopez is a veteran from our district, and Monica Duran is a city councilwoman from Wheat Ridge, Colorado.
Further announcements or introductions? Representative Jackson and, just Representative Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I asked to be excused on Friday the 13th, and has been approved by the Majority Leader. Thank you.
All right, you're excused. Further announcements or introductions? Representative Salazar.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I am so proud to tell you that the mystery of the comb has been solved. As you all know, this comb ended up on my desk at the beginning of session because I have so much hair, and we finally figured out whose comb it is. It is Representative Winkler's.
Further announcements or introductions? Further announcements or introductions? Seeing no further announcements or introductions, we will now proceed to third reading of bills, final passage. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1304.
House Bill 1304 by Representative Benavidez, House Senator Court, concerning enforcement measures available to the Department of Revenue for the collection of delinquent taxes.
Assistant Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1304 on third reading and final passage.
All right, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1304 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative McCain. Please close the machine. With 36 yes votes, 27 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1304 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1258.
House Bill 1258, Representative Singer and Melton, all Senators Neville and Fenberg, concerning authorization for endorsement to an existing marijuana license to allow for marijuana accessory consumption establishment with the purpose of consumer education in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Assistant Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1258 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of House Bill 1258 on third reading and final passage. Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I ask for permission for a third reading amendment put on by Representative Beckman on second reading.
Would you like to tell us why?
Absolutely. I'd love to tell you why. Well, members, while I like to do these scavenger hunt things for the Senate so they can find our clerical errors and then they can send us things back for concurrence, I figured we'd do it correct the first time. So Representative Beckman's amendment concerning banning consumption clubs from 1,000 feet from an adjoining jurisdiction's boundary was added to a subsection that was actually stricken in the Finance Committee report. So this doesn't change anything this wouldn't change anything substantively, but I would ask permission for a third reading amendment so we can make sure we put this in the right part of our bill.
Okay. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote on the request to offer a third reading amendment. Representative, actually, please close the machine. With 54 yes votes, 9 no votes, and 2 excused, the request for permission to offer a third reading amendment to House Bill 1258 is passed. Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. With that, I move L016 and ask that it be displayed.
Okay. Properly moved, and it is now displayed. Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This merely moves this amendment into the right to the correct part of the statute, or of, well, it's not statute yet, of the bill. And regardless of your opinion on whether or not you want to ban consumption establishment endorsements from 1,000 feet from a boundary of a jurisdiction that doesn't want this, I think we should definitely put it in the correct part of our CRS should this bill be signed. And for those of you who remember during second reading debate, this is something that both myself and the bill sponsor said to vote your conscience on. And frankly, it would sound a little hypocritical of me when my district is trying to ban other constitutional and statutory things from our boundaries that I wouldn't allow this myself. So I ask for an aye vote.
Mr. Randall, please open the machine. Members, please proceed to vote. Please close the machine. With 63 yes votes, 0 no votes, and 2 excused, Amendment L016 is adopted. Assistant Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1258 on third reading and final passage as amended.
All right. The question before us is a passage of House Bill 1258 as amended on third reading. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Please close the machine. With 39 yes votes, 24 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1258 is passed as amended. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. All right, that takes us to House Bill 1280. Mr. Randall, please read the title.
House Bill 1280, Representative Melton, Austin, Oklahoma, concerning regulatory procedures related to the appointment of a court of appointment for regulated marijuana business in connection with making an appropriation.
Assistant Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1280 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of House Bill 1280 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Randall, please have the machine, and members, please proceed, and members, please proceed to vote. Please close the machine. With 63 yes votes, 0 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1280 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1283.
House Bill 1283, Representative Benavidez, also Senator Neville, concerning the classification of residential land for property tax purposes resulting from a significant change to the residential improvements located upon the land.
Assistant Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1283 on third reading and final passage.
All right. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Madam Majority Leader Becker, Representative Hooton. Please close the machine. With 63 yes votes, 0 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1283 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1296.
House Bill 1296, Representatives Melton and Everett, all Senators Marble and Moreno, concerning expansion of the ability to leave a motor vehicle unattended in certain circumstances.
Assistant Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1296 on third reading and final passage.
All right, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1296 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Please close the machine. All right, with 60 yes votes and 3 no votes, 2 excused, House Bill 1296 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1335.
House Bill 1335, Representative Young of Senator Lumberg, concerning the Colorado Child Care Assistance Program in connection with establishing eligibility requirements for the Cal counties and creating a new formula to determine the amount of block grants to counties.
Assistant Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1335 on third reading and final passage.
Question before us is passage of House Bill 1335 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Benavides, Hooton, and Humphrey. Please close the machine. With 50 yes votes, 13 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1335 is passed. Co-sponsors. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1307.
House Bill 1307, Representative Singer and Lee, all Senators Gardner and Cook, concerning restricting the availability to children of products that contain dextromethorphan.
Assistant Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1307 on third reading and final passage.
Question before us is passage of House Bill 1307 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Lantine, please close the machine. With 39 yes votes, 24 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1307 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1152.
House Bill 1152, Representative Lawrence, all Senator Cook, concerning making certain records of the State Judicial Department relating to sexual harassment investigations subject to the Colorado Open Records Act.
Assistant Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1152 on third reading and final passage.
All right, the question before us is passage of House Bill 1152 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Please close the machine. With 63 yes votes, 0 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1152 is passed. Co-sponsors. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1181.
House Bill 1181, Representative Liston, I'll Senator Tate, concerning measures to expand the ability of non-resident electors to participate in the governance of special districts and in connection therewith allowing non-resident electors who own taxable property within the special district to vote in special district elections, allowing such electors to serve on special district boards and not on voting capacity.
Assistant Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Nice job, Mr. Kohler. I move for the passage of House Bill 1181 on third reading and final passage.
Question before us is the passage of House Bill 1181 on third reading and final passage.
Sorry, Mr. Randall.
All right. Any discussion? Representative Liston.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I wanted to make some clarifications yesterday. I know how it is on second readings. You know, people are talking and milling about, and sometimes they're paying attention, sometimes they're not. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to re-explain what House Bill 1181 does or does not do. First of all, I'd like to thank Representative Weissman for putting on a good amendment in State Affairs, which really made a good bill even better. Please know, members, that that what House Bill 1181, what it really does is only gives the ability of out-of-state voters. It's voluntary upon the majority vote of the respective board that they reside in, that they own property in. So it's an opt-in. This is not a mandate. It's not a blanket bill that applies to all special districts. It only applies to the special districts that the board, the majority of the board, wants to do. So it's an opt-in. Please know that. There's also been some confusion, and I apologize yesterday when I was making my remarks that as to who can actually be able to vote. I said, which is true, that the person has to be a real or a natural person. It can't be a corporation that owns the property. It can't be an LLC. Can't be a limited partnership. It has to be a real person with two legs and so forth like that. They have to be a property owner. They have to be a property owner also. And they can't be a Russian oligarch. People said, well, what if Russian oligarchs own property? Well, Russian oligarchs, to my knowledge, are not U.S. citizens. So you have to be a U.S. citizen also. And also, the special district, they do not have to mail out the ballots. Unlike if you're a citizen in the district and you live here in Colorado, the special districts under current law are required to mail the ballot out to everybody. But to an out-of-state voter, one of the safeguards that we put in is that the out-of-state voter, they have to sign an affidavit that they're an eligible elector, that they're a real person, that they own the property. They have to notarize the form, and then they have to return it back to the special district. So that puts some real safeguards into it. And as to the out-of-state property owners, I would remind everybody, you know, they are taxpayers, they're good people, they're interested citizens. They want to just have a small voice in the governance of the special district that probably means a lot to them, quite frankly. And they will bring and add a unique perspective and a valuable input to the election of the board only. So members, if 9 other states can do this successfully without a problem, then why can't we do it here in Colorado? If we allow the out-of-country or out-of-state military who serve our country admirably to do this, then why can't we allow out-of-state property owners to be able to vote once again for the board? And if the town of Mountain Village in southwestern Colorado has been able to do this for the past 20 years and allow their citizens to vote on everything, including the election and property tax increases and the whole shebang, then why can't we at least let special districts give owners a little voice in their governance? Members, this is not rocket science. This is democracy in action. I respectfully ask for an aye vote. Thank you very much.
Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I'll be brief, and with all due respect to Representative Liston, I ask for a no vote on this. What this means in practicality is that somebody who is registered to vote in California, Texas, New York, or elsewhere who just happens to own a second home in the state of Colorado gets to vote in a special district board of director election. Those board of directors make decisions that impact the lives of the people who live in Colorado full time. This is very different than veterans voting. Veterans get to register to vote in Colorado and vote in Colorado elections no matter where they happen to be in the globe. This is allowing somebody who's registered to vote in California or another state who gets to vote on those elections to also vote in elections in Colorado. It is a dangerous precedent. The town of Mountain Village gets to do this already. I do not think we need a state mandate to this effect. I'd ask for a no vote.
Representative Liston.
Members, once again, this is not a mandate. This is only for the special districts that want to do this. It's an opt-in. It is not a mandate. If the special district does not want to do it, they don't have to do it. If they want to do it, fine. If they don't, that's okay too. And in fact, if they opt in and they want to do it, and 2 years or 5 years later they want to opt out, they can also. So this is no mandate. Thank you. Please vote yes.
Any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Rosenthal. Please close the machine. With 46 yes votes, 17 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1181 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1271.
House Bill 1271, Representatives Gray and Willett, also undertake concerning the authorization of economic development rates to be charged by electric utilities to qualifying non-residential customers.
Assistant Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1271 on third reading and final passage.
Question before us is passage of House Bill 1271 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative, all right, please close the machine. With 46 yes votes, 17 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1271 is passed. Co-sponsors. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. All right, that takes us to general orders, second reading of bills. Representative Arndt. All right, members, you have heard the motion. Seeing no objection, Representative Arndt will take the chair.
The committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there is a request for reading a bill at length. Committee amendments will not be read unless requested, as they are printed and in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and on your iPads and not read unless requested. Bills will be laid over upon motion of the majority leader, and the coat rule is relaxed. Mr. Randall. Please read the title of House Bill 1279.
House Bill 1279 by Representative Escarro, Senators Priola and Moreno, concerning a requirement that certain practitioners prescribe controlled substances electronically.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1279 till the end of the second reading calendar.
Okay. Seeing no objection, House Bill 1279 is laid over to the end of the second reading calendar. Thank you. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1263.
House Bill 1263 by Representatives Hooten and Melton, all Senators Quorum and Fenberg, concerning adding certain conditions to the list of disabling medical conditions for medical marijuana use in connection therewith, adding autism spectrum disorders and acute pain.
Representative Hooten and Representative Melton, would you like to present your bill? Representative Melton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1826 and the committee report on health insurance and environment.
To the committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In health insurance and environment, we amended out the acute pain, but left the autism. We ask for an aye vote.
Is there further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those say opposed say no. The ayes have it. The committee report is adopted. To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, members. What House Bill 1263 would do is add autism spectrum disorders to the list of conditions under which a physician could recommend medical marijuana.
Is there further discussion on House Bill 1263? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1263. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1263 is adopted. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1286.
House Bill 1286, Representative Roberts, all Senators Aguilar and Marble, concerning allowing a school nurse to give medical marijuana to a student with a medical marijuana registry card while at school.
Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1286 and the Health Insurance Environment Committee report.
Thank you. To the committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the committee, we added some language about this being allowed, not just school nurses, but also a school nurse's designee, and added some language about the storage of the medicine at school.
Thank you very much. Is there further discussion on the committee report? Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, I'd like to move L003 and ask that it be displayed.
Representative Roberts, would you like to present L003?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So what L003 does is strike the Health Insurance Environment Committee report, adds in some more language after further stakeholder process with regards to the personnel that can administer this medication, the plan that needs to be put in place as far as dosing, and some language about the storage of the medicine.
Is there further discussion on Amendment L003? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of L003. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. L003 is adopted. To the bill, Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move L004 and ask that it be displayed.
L004 is properly displayed. Would you please like to explain the amendment?
Thank you, Madam Chair. What this amendment does is make it even more clear that this bill is permissive. It does not require any nurse, any school, or any school district to comply with this new law. It just says that if they want to, they are allowed to. It also has some language about this not being in effect should the school activities bring the student outside of the state of Colorado at any time, and adds in a little more language about the storage of the medicine.
Thank you very much. Is there discussion on L004? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of L004. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. L004 is adopted. Do you have further amendments, Representative?
No.
To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, this bill is a fix to current law. Current law allows the administration of medical marijuana at schools. What this bill does is if a school nurse or school personnel wants to assist the student in administering their medicine, that they are allowed to do so. And what this means is that parents no longer have to leave their own jobs, drive across town, pull their kids out of school, and just to administer the medicine. It brings the medical marijuana in line with every other type of medication that school nurses administer. And again, it is 100% permissive. If nurses, schools, or school districts do not want to participate, they do not have to. I ask for an aye vote.
I believe there's further discussion on House Bill 1286. Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And colleagues, I certainly respect Representative Roberts' explanation that this bill is permissive, but I want to tell you what works and how it works in school districts. If something's permissive, it's going to be required. Any time that in a school district you have something in the school that you're allowed to do it, the parents are going to demand that you do it, and they'll be at the school board, and it will be done. So my challenge to you is check with your school nurses. What's their opinion on this? Check with your school superintendents. What's their opinion on this? We're still dealing with a substance that's not as everyday ho-hum regular medication as every other medication, according to what the federal government says. So there is a question. Right now, the school districts have allowed parents to come in and administer the medication, no questions asked. But the school district does not have to be the repository for the medication, or as the bill states, that they have to transport it off school property. There are too many situations that I can imagine as a school superintendent is going to create problems. So permissive or not, this is not a good bill. Please vote no.
Representative Ransom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We heard this bill in committee, and I agree that there was a lot of input from both parents, from school nurses, from schools, from families. We saw a lot of children there as well. The point that I needed to make was that there are school nurses that don't want to administer the medication. They don't have to. There are also school nurses that really, really want to help the kids that are benefited by the medical marijuana. And the school nurse, we heard from nurses that came in and said, please let me do this. I want to be able to do this, and I don't want to be able to be prosecuted criminally for it. And so the bill also allows an exemption from any type of criminal prosecution, because we do understand that the federal laws do conflict with the state laws. That being said, we heard from parents whose kids are absolutely helped by this medication. And there are children that were not able to go to school before they were able to take this because they had so many seizures each day that they could not even attend school. They can attend school now because this medication is available. So I urge an aye vote on the bill because I truly believed that the parents need it, and there were parents that could never be more than 5 minutes away from the school because they had to be there within that length of time if their child started into a seizure, and there could be permanent physical disability if the seizure continued. And this drug actually helped, and not just helped, it stopped the seizure activity and the negative impact. So the nurses that want to do it will be able to. The nurses that don't want to do it won't have to. And I think this is a good freedom bill. And I do believe this will help children. I also see that it as being an allow-in bill versus require. I think that nurses that don't want to do it can and should stand up and say that they don't want to and they shouldn't have to, that there should be other people there that can do it. Again, I urge an aye vote, and I think this will help kids.
Representative Beckman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I actually have a question for the sponsor before I give my comments. I think we amended the bill in committee to allow for a non-nurse employee or volunteer trained by a nurse to dispense marijuana to a child. So these would be people who would work under the delegation of a nurse license. So what the feeling of some of the nurses is that they would be liable if that person said, I would be willing to provide the medication, but they were working under the school nurse, and that they would be in danger of losing their license. And so I'm wondering if you've had any discussion, because there was an amendment added that allow others besides nurses to
Representative Roberts.
Medication.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Beckman, thank you for the question. So just like other medications, the parents and the school can make a plan at the beginning of the school year to create a designee. So that would all be done in accordance with the plan that they do for other medication. They would be practicing or be acting under the school nurse's license. The license is issued by the state of Colorado through DORA, and in Colorado under Amendment 20, medical marijuana is legal. So that, we've had those discussions over and over. We understand why some nurses might be hesitant about that, and that's why the bill is permissive.
Representative Beckman. Oh, pardon me. Okay. Yep, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would ask for a no vote on House Bill 1086. The school districts came, and the nurse associations are having real huge issues with this bill. A statement was made that just because it is a Colorado, and legal in Colorado, is not a shield from federal prosecution. I was surprised at the strong pushback on this bill. Marijuana is currently categorized as a Schedule I drug and illegal at the federal level. Registered nurses are required to follow federal law. And we have a compact with our nurses. They're required to follow all federal laws. Violating these requirements would put registered nurses at risk. And there was some discussions about what happened with Jack's Law, which I wasn't around at that time, where it was first made permissive. It was a may, and then it moved to shall. And there are many that felt that that was just in bad faith, and we're very concerned that this bill would follow that path. Marijuana is currently scheduled at a Schedule I. There have been many administrations that have not chosen to move it. We all know that's what needs to happen. But for right now, it allows a non-nurse and a nurse, and the nurses are very concerned about this additional person that has been added to the bill to administer marijuana. I know that we heard some very heartfelt stories about some of the most medically fragile students in our school system, but the nurses and the school districts have real issues with this and really want to keep the parents involved in something that is still federally illegal. I think having a nurse whose license license is tied to following federal law and a compact that is tied to following federal law, and organizations that are very involved with these children request that we not pass the bill is enough to vote no on House Bill 1086.
Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to respond to a couple of things that were already brought up in the well. But before I do that, I want to start off by saying that we wouldn't be here without Jack. And so we're almost on the anniversary of Jack's Law right now, and I know that he changed the hearts and minds of people more than anyone else I know, actually, in this building. So, in his spirit, I'm going to be nice about this. But when I hear that if you make something permissive, that schools will have to do it, that's just not the case. And that's not the case because when we passed Jack's amendment and made this permissive, no school district implemented anything. As a matter of fact, I emailed one of the school superintendents where Jack's school district was to say, can you please allow Jack to attend school? And the answer is, well, it's still illegal federally. We don't know what to do. And I said, well, how about do what you're allowed to do in state law? Nothing happened. So that's why we passed Jack's Law. This wasn't bad faith on the part of myself or other legislators here. We gave school districts an opportunity to do the right thing for our kids. And these are sick kids with seizures and cancer. And our school districts did nothing. And so now it was up to us to make it prescriptive as opposed to permissive. This is permissive because we want to give people a shot. We want to say, you know what, we're going to give nurses the benefit of the doubt because we already put too much on our school nurses already. We all know that. There's not enough of them to do the job that we already expect them to do. But at the very least, if they want to help a kid, shouldn't we allow them? We already allow doctors to recommend medical marijuana, even though it's still federally illegal. Are they violating their Practice Act? Has any physician been brought up on charges in Colorado solely on the basis of the recommendation of medical marijuana? We don't see that. We have federal legislation that actually protects medical marijuana. The Rohrabacher-Farr Amendment does that. So I just want to clarify some of the misconceptions about this bill. And remember Jack today for the great start that he got us started on. And I encourage an aye vote on this bill.
Representative Landgraf.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I came up here to get Flipper, who was in the front row a little bit ago, because I did vote against this, but I will be voting yes for several reasons. Think about yourselves sitting here and you have to leave and go to your child's school to administer medicine so that your child won't have a seizure or something even worse. that burden is really unbelievable and unbearable, and we should do what we can to relieve parents of that. As far as nurses go, this is not mandatory, so they will not have to do anything that they would consider to be violating their licenses. But nurses are licensed in Colorado, and marijuana is legal in Colorado. So that's another issue to consider here. After I voted, I talked to some of the parents, and I looked at some of the parents. I saw how happy they were that this passed, and I realized at that moment that I had made a mistake. So I'll be a yes on this. Thank you for bringing it. I think it's an important bill, and it's a good step forward.
Representative Gray.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, I rise in support of this bill as well. I'll tell you, it's actually, Representative Landgraf, there are some parents where the story is actually even a little bit worse. And I want to talk about one family from my district and a young man named Ethan. I've actually spoken to him about him a few times at this well before. But Ethan has had a number of different conditions that have caused him to be in and out of the hospital his whole life. And his parents live one of the most challenging existences I can see as I follow along with their journey, because they never know whether they're going to be at Children's on any given day. And right now, Ethan has gotten old enough where it's time for him to start school, and his mom never leaves school, because one of the things he has are these types of medications that they use to counteract seizures. But in Ethan's case, those seizures can escalate very quickly, and he could be in a life-threatening situation at a given time. So he is in school right now. Normally, when a child is in school, that is a time for parents to be able to accomplish at least a few other things, but she is not comfortable leaving school because he could have seizures that needed to be counteracted, and they might not have time to drive down to school in order to make this happen. And so they've reached out to me specifically about the profound improvement in their quality of life they would be able to have if they knew someone else could be there to give Ethan his seizure medicine. I would ask for an aye vote to help families like this particular family, but also families like them throughout the state. Thank you.
Members, I'd like to thank you for keeping it down. I mean, we can actually hear the debate today, so I'm very excited about this new development. Representative Wilson? Roberts?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Dillon?
Colleagues, I'm a little bit confused, which shouldn't surprise some of you. I'm that way quite often, I realize. But on the one hand, Representative Roberts, I'm hearing the bill say, you know, we just need to give them the option. We just need to give them an opportunity to have someone there who can do it. On the other hand, when Representative Landgraf comes up, I hear that we're supposed to be doing this for the children and relieve the parents of that responsibility. So that sounds like it's not going to be an option, it's going to be mandatory. And the point that I see in this bill, which I heard in testimony, the biggest concern was the emergency. The emergency. What happens when a parent cannot be there and that child is going into a seizure? This bill doesn't address that. Why doesn't this bill address the fact that the school could have a dose of the medication for emergency purposes so that the nurse, who is bound by that oath to help out in that situation, administer it on an emergency situation, but not intervene, as Representative Landgraf was saying, to relieve the parents of that and then put it on the shoulders of the school nurses? I don't understand. The bill is supposed to be optional, but yet we're leaning towards it being mandatory, and we could solve that with just the emergency situation. I don't understand.
Representative Salazar.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Is that what we're going to do? We're going to wait for an emergency to arise? That this is a medicine that can be administered prior to an emergency? A medicine that's been recommended by a doctor, just like many other medicines, including our narcotics that our nurses are allowed to administer at schools. We're literally going to wait for someone to actually have a seizure. A child to have a seizure. Before a nurse, before a minister was allowed to administer it. Why? Because the name has marijuana in it? I mean, seriously, school nurses are able to administer narcotics and other kinds of medicines prior to an emergency. I don't get this chamber sometimes. That we're going to put a child through suffering because it has marijuana in the name. We need to think better than that. We need to rely on our school nurses to be able to make these decisions, to just administer 3 times a day, as in the case of Jack. Just 3 times a day. That way his parents don't have to leave work, because we know we're not going to give him family medical leave, paid family medical leave for that. This is a good bill. Do we not recall when we passed a bill out of this chamber quite bipartisanly to allow those on probation medical marijuana? In fact, I think it passed unanimously for them to have that, so that way people don't have to take 20 to 30 medicines. This is a good bill. There is no reason in the world why we should have to wait for an emergency and let children suffer before there's an administration of medication. I rise in strong support.
Representative Wist.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So members, here is my concern. For what other drug have we made it permissive for nurses? We're putting nurses in an impossible situation. We're saying that they have flexibility, and why are we saying that? Because we know that different school districts will view this policy differently. If we truly believe in local control and allowing local school districts to develop policies that work best for them, why don't we leave this up to local school boards to decide this on a district-by-district basis? Let's talk about why the confusion on permissive is important. The standard of liability is whether or not there is a breach of a duty of care. If we're putting it in statute that a nurse may give this medication, we're creating an expectation on the part of these families that in fact it will be given. And what happens when the nurse declines and someone has a seizure and hits their head? Are we creating a circumstance where there's an expectation on the part of parents? And I recognize in the arguments that the proponents of this bill make are compelling, that these parents are in a difficult spot. Let's also realize the difficult spot that we are putting nurses in and school districts in. On the one hand, we're saying it's permissive, we want to give you discretion, but members, that's not really accurate, because we're creating an expectation, we're creating liability, and this will hurt our school districts. Let's allow them to make these decisions on a district-by-district basis. Let's not be authoritarian and push this down from the state capitol. I urge a no vote.
Representative Buck.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And folks, we heard this in agriculture, which I thought was interesting, this medical marijuana in schools, and we heard it there, and we said, that's fine. If that's what the schools want to do, let them do it. And then they came back and said, no, we want to mandate it. And again, here we are in the legislature creating laws, thinking we know what's best for the schools. And I can tell you, I talked to a lot of the boards of CASB and Case and all of them, saying that they're just not prepared to take this on. Give us a little more time, but still, they're not prepared. But here we are in the legislature thinking we know what's best, and we're slamming it down their throat. I absolutely ask you to vote no on this bill. Schools are not prepared. Let it be permissive. Let them handle what they can handle. But for you to put this and impose this on the schools, they are not ready, and I please ask for a no on this bill.
Mr. Minority Leader, no.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, when I look at the bill, I do read it, and I do think it is totally permissive, and I don't see how, by us saying that it's totally permissive for an individual to decide to do this on their own, that we're mandating anything. I think permissive is exactly that. It's permissive in allowing an individual to choose for themselves of whether or not they want to actually administer this drug that has had a huge impact in a positive way for many students that I know personally. I don't think that's a bad thing. I urge you yes vote on the bill.
Okay. Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members, for the debate today. Just want to answer a few questions that were raised. First of all, I know the bill was heard 2 years ago in the Ag Committee. This year it was heard in HIE. Representative Wist, as far as the school boards, there is nothing in this bill that would prevent a school board from enacting a policy to not allow this law to go forward. So the school boards have the permission to enact their own policies. An individual school can enact their own policy against this bill, a school district, a school board, what have you. Those guardrails are built into the bill. As far as the emergency, Representative Wilson, yes, we should be able to administer this in emergency, but we need this bill in order to allow the medical marijuana to be at the school in the first place. Under Jack's Law, which has been successfully implemented for 2 years with no federal intervention, the medical marijuana needs to be removed from the school immediately after administration. That is unlike any other medication that we have in our schools today, including controlled and narcotic substances. So in order for an emergency to be treated, the medical marijuana needs to be there in the first place, and this bill helps with that. I just have to say to our school nurses, we have the utmost respect for our school nurses. We understand the work that they do every day is so important to our kids. They were at the table from day one on this process. We understand that federal law is what it is. We cannot control what the whims of the Attorney General or the administration at any what time, but we have been enacting marijuana policy out of this building for the last 6 years, and we have not had federal intervention yet. I think we have a duty as state legislators to work with our state constitution, and Amendment 20 is part of that. And let me just finish off with a story about what this is really about. This bill is I'm calling it Quinton's Amendment after a constituent of mine named Quinton Lovato, 9-year-old from Gypsum, Colorado, who has epilepsy and Tourette's. He took all the traditional epilepsy medicine for years. Nothing was really helping with his seizures. He couldn't go to school oftentimes because he was so sick. A year ago, he started on a CBD oil that's administered under his tongue 3 times a day. That CBD oil has made him almost seizure-free, and his Tourette's are almost gone. He can go to school as a normal kid as possible now and learn and be a 9-year-old kid. But he needs one of those doses around the middle of the day. And he comes from a family of 5 kids with 2 working parents who don't always have the time to leave their jobs, go to school, pull him out of class, which is a huge disruption in and of itself, administer the medication, and then get back to work. This bill is good for kids like Quinton. It's good for his family. I think it's the right move for Colorado. With all due respect to everybody that has opposition, I believe that this bill, in its permissive nature, is the direction we need to go. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there further discussion on House Bill 1286? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1286. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No. The ayes have it. 1286 is passed. Mr. Randall, does that bring us back to 1279?
No.
Assistant Majority Leader?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1272 one day to April 13th.
Okay.
12th, April 12th.
The question before us is moving House Bill 1272, laying over by one day. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, no. Nope. The ayes have it. Mr. Assistant Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are running tight on time, so I move the committee rise and report.
Okay. What do I say? The motion before us is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. The committee will rise and report.
Okay, the House will come back to order. Mr. Randall, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Madam Speaker, Pro Tem, your Committee of the Whole Big City Report has on distribution the following touch bills, making the second reading thereof, makes the following recommendations on. House Bill 1263 is amended. House Bill 1286 is amended. Passed on second reading, regardless of place counted for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1272 laid over until April 12, 2018, retained its place on the calendar.
Representative Arndt. Let's try that one more time. Representative Arndt. Excellent. You have heard the motion and there are no amendments. The question before the House is the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote.
No, you can vote up there. One moment.
Representative Bridges, Representative Hooton, Representative Humphrey, Representative Lawrence, Representative McKean, Representative Pavone, Representative Rankin, please vote. Reps Lawrence and McKean. Representative McKean, Representative Lawrence, please vote. $1 each. With 59 aye votes, 2 no votes, and 4 excused, the report of the Committee of the Whole is adopted. Announcements and introductions. Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. Once again, members, we will not be hearing, local government committee members, we will not be hearing House Bill 1366. We will be laying that over until next week. We will be hearing House Bill 1360 at 1:30 p.m. sharp. And after that, members, you are all invited to a presentation at 3:30 in House Committee Room 109 to hear about how technology can help keep our kids safe in our child welfare system. So come visit us in House Committee Room 109 at 3:30 after Local Government Committee at 1:30.
Representative Foote.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. State Affairs announcement. We are hearing 3 bills this afternoon, and those are the same 3 bills we've had on the calendar for quite some time. But just to reiterate, House Bill 1224, Senate Bill 175, House Bill 1312. Now, the one thing I wanted you to know is we are in room 271 today. As it turns out, we probably aren't going to need room 271, but we had booked it, so we're in it. So we'll see you in room 271 at 1:30 this afternoon.
Representative Pedersen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. Members of the Education Committee, just a reminder, it is Wednesday, which means we are meeting upon adjournment. 5 minutes upon adjournment, bring your stuff immediately to our committee room.
Representative Lawrence.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. Members, I just want to remind you that today is the Victims' Rights Caucus lunch from noon to 1 p.m. in room 109, and today's subject is survivor-led grassroots approaches to improving school safety. I think that's something that we should all take a closer look at, so I hope I'll see you all down in room 109 at noon.
Representative Winter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of Transportation and Energy, we will be meeting today at 1:30 p.m. for 2 bills. See you there.
Further announcements and introductions. Seeing none. Madam Majority Leader.
I will stall while Representative Pabon.
Representative Pabon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. And Finance Committee members, we've got a few bills on the docket today, so let's try to convene in the next, let's see, it's 11:13. Can we make it over there by 11:20? And let's just get the party started. Does that sound good? Okay. See you in 7 minutes.
For the Finance Party. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm trying to see if the 5th grade class from Peak to Peak Elementary is here yet. It doesn't look like it, but I'm still going to give them a shout out. And with that, I move that the House stand in recess till 1 o'clock today.
Seeing no objection, the House will stand in recess at the Majority Leader's request.